Watching a real ancient object feels like stepping into a time machine. But the truth is, we've only scratched the surface. Most of us grew up learning about the same few empires, but recent excavations are proving that massive, powerful civilizations were thriving in the shadows for thousands of years. These newly found societies were building incredible objects and creating art long before the name art is discovered. It's a total wake-up call that shows our world has always been a much busier and more connected place than we imagined. So, don't skip any part, because what comes next would be totally strange. Number 15. The Upano Valley Well. Imagine flying a laser over a dense, untouched jungle and watching a massive 2,500-year-old metropolis materialize on your screen like a digital ghost. For decades, history books told us the Amazon was a pristine wilderness too harsh for complex societies. But the recent LiDAR discovery in Ecuador's Upano Valley has completely shattered that myth. This wasn't just a few huts. It was a sophisticated network of thousands of earthen mounds, symmetrical plazas, and incredibly straight roads that stretched for miles, connecting urban centers into a garden city system. Built around 500 BC, this civilization was thriving and highly organized at the same time the Roman Empire was just finding its feet. And these people weren't just surviving in the rainforest. They were master engineers who reshaped the entire landscape to support a massive population. It's a total rewrite of South American history, proving that the empty jungle was actually a crowded, buzzing metropolitan hub long before Europeans ever arrived. Number 14. Star-Car Shaman Masks. Step back 11,000 years to a foggy lakeshore in North Yorkshire, where the line between humans and animals didn't just blur, it completely vanished. Long before the first brick of a pyramid was ever laid, the hunter-gatherers of Star-Car were practicing a hauntingly beautiful form of spiritual artistry that feels like something out of a dark fantasy novel. Archaeologists recently unearthed a collection of red deer skulls that had been meticulously transformed into ceremonial headdresses, with the insides smoothed down and holes bored specifically for leather straps. These weren't trophies from a hunt, and they were ritual masks designed to be worn by shamans who believed they could become the deer to communicate with the spirits of the forest. In a world without metal, wheels, or writing, these people possessed a complex, symbolic inner life and a level of craftsmanship that challenges everything we thought we knew about primitive humans. It's a chilling, intimate look at the very birth of human religion. Number 13. Gobekli Tepe's Skull Cult. Just when we thought we had the timeline of human progress figured out, a massive stone temple in Turkey emerged from the dust to tell us we've had it backward for centuries. Gobekli Tepe is over 11,000 years old, making it the world's oldest known monumental structure, built by people who hadn't even figured out how to farm or make a clay pot yet. Yeah, but the real horror movie twist lies in the discovery of carved human skull fragments found among the massive T-shaped stone pillars. It turns out these ancient builders were part of a sophisticated skull cult, where they cleaned, decorated, and even hung human heads as part of a grand prehistoric ritual. This discovery proves that it wasn't the invention of agriculture that brought people together to build cities. It was a shared, massive religious obsession that forced them to innovate. We are looking at the literal cradle of civilization, and it's built on a foundation of stone, stars, and ancestor worship. Number 12. Karameiko's Cursed Tablets. If you think cancel culture is a modern invention, you need to see what they found at the bottom of a well in Athens back in 2020. People 2,500 years ago didn't have Twitter to vent their frustrations, so they used lead tablets instead. They'd scratch some really nasty stuff onto these small metal sheets, literally asking the gods of the underworld to rise and wreck their enemies' lives, and then chuck them into the water. In the Karameiko's burial ground, archaeologists pulled out over 30 of these cursed tablets. They threw them in wells because they thought the water was a direct line to the deities downstairs. It's such a petty human thing to do, right? You get into a fight with a neighbor, and instead of talking it out, you write a DM to Hades, hoping for divine intervention. It's a hilarious and slightly dark look at how people handled beef in ancient Greece, and it makes the sophisticated Athenians look a lot more like us. Number 11. Ailes Stones. Okay, let's talk about the Swedish version of Stonehenge, but with a Viking twist. High on a cliff top in Ystad, you've got these 59 massive boulders arranged in the shape of a 67-meter-long ship. It's called Ailes Stones, or Ailes Stenar. For years, the legend was that King Aelle the Strong was buried there, but historians basically rolled their eyes because he's a mythical figure. But get this. While the stones were put up about 1,400 years ago during the Viking Age, there is a burial site right underneath them that is 5,500 years old. It's like the Vikings found an ancient sacred spot and decided to claim it for their own chieftain. The ship shape was likely meant to carry souls to the afterlife, which is a vibe, honestly. But the big question remains. If this was built to honor a legendary leader, where's the body? No Viking chieftain was ever found inside. It's a beautiful, confusing landmark that's been sitting there for millennia, guarding secrets we're still trying to dig up. Number 10. Belle shipwreck. Bad maps and a literal ton of extra luggage. That's how you lose a 54-ton frigate. In 1686, explorer Robert de La Salle was trying to find the Mississippi River, but he ended up 400 miles off course in Matagorda Bay instead. His ship, La Belle, was so weighed down with cargo from a different grounded vessel that it stood zero chance when a storm hit. Fast forward to 1995, and divers find this absolute treasure chest of a wreck. We're talking 1.6 million items, from gunpowder to glass beads, just sitting there like a failed colony starter pack. It took researchers at Texas A&M until 2016 to finally piece the wooden hull back together. It's a 17-year puzzle that proves even the most expensive expeditions can be ruined by one wrong turn. Pretty wild to think a whole dream of a French empire in the south literally sank because of a navigation error. Number 9. The Lion of Kea. Usually when you see a 30-foot-long stone lion, it's guarding a temple or a king's tomb, right? Well, the Lion of Iolida missed that memo. This massive beast was chiseled out of a single chunk of limestone about 2,600 years ago on the island of Kea. And it's just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. There's no sign of a city, a fortress, or even a fancy house nearby. Archaeologists are losing their minds because the effort to carve a guardian that guards absolutely nothing is insane. It's one of the oldest monumental sculptures in all of Greece, and yet we don't know who made it or why they chose this specific random spot. It's like someone built a high-tech security gate in the middle of a desert. We're left staring at this smiling stone cat, wondering what the heck it knows that we don't. Well, now it's time for number 8. King Arthur Tapestry. You'd never guess that one of the most famous tapestries in the world spent years hiding inside the curtains of a French chateau in Normandy. This King Arthur piece is part of the legendary 9 Heroes collection, and it's currently undergoing a massive glow-up at the Met. Because tapestries fade and fall apart over time, these experts are carefully reweaving them with modern materials designed to match the original 14th century fibers perfectly. They've even added a hidden structural support so it can finally be hung up again without ripping itself apart. It's a painstaking process of cleaning and stitching to bring the legendary king back to his former glory. By seeing this massive work of art in its near original state is a trip. It's a symbol of chivalry and power that was nearly lost to history simply because someone used it as a window treatment. Number 7. Vindolanda Stream Altar. Sometimes nature does the heavy lifting for us when it comes to finding history. Recently, a massive storm knocked down a tree right next to the Vindolanda Roman fort, and as the museum staff was clearing away the mess, they spotted something weird in the water. It was a 3rd century stone altar that had been hiding in the stream for nearly 1,900 years. Because it's been tumbled by water and exposed to the elements for centuries, the thing is pretty beat up. There's no inscription left, which makes the restoration a total nightmare. Still, finding it during Hadrian's Wall's 1900th anniversary is such a cool coincidence. Even without words, this slab of stone is a heavy reminder that the Romans were living, praying, and building right where we walk today, and there are probably more pieces of it still waiting under the mud. Number 6. Thomas Beckett, badges. Back in 1170, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Beckett, was murdered in his own cathedral, and almost immediately he became the biggest celebrity saint in London. If you were a pilgrim visiting his shrine back then, you absolutely had to grab a commemorative badge as a souvenir. It was the medieval version of a concert t-shirt. The London Museum has this incredible collection of them now, made of lead and tin. One shows his actual martyrdom with the words Thomas Martyr, while another is shaped like a tiny ampulla meant to hold holy water. These weren't just religious items, they were a status symbol that proved you'd made the journey. Seeing these cheap, mass-produced badges today gives us a surprisingly pop culture look at the 12th century, showing how even faith had a commercial side that connected people across the city. That was amazing, right? But check the next one. Number 5. Pillage recycled crozier. It's wild to think about a high-ranking Viking woman in Romsdal, Norway, being buried with a piece of jewelry that was actually a stolen religious relic. This gold fragment was originally part of an 8th century crozier or hooked staff from England, but Viking raiders didn't care about its sacred meaning. They just saw high-quality gold. They literally cut the staff in half and recycled it into a brooch or a grave offering for this wealthy lady. Found in 1961, it remains the oldest piece of an English crozier ever discovered, even though it's now thousands of miles away from its original home. While most of these staves in Britain were eventually melted down or lost, this pillaged piece survived because of a Viking's eye for recycled luxury. It's a gritty piece of evidence showing how the treasures of one culture became the fashion accessories of another through sheer force. Number 4. The Eagle Toe Talisman. In 2023, archaeologists digging in Oxfordshire, England, stumbled upon a shallow pit that held a deeply personal secret from the early Bronze Age. Tucked inside the grave of a young child was a pin made from the toe bone of an eagle, the very first find of its kind in the entire country. We don't know for sure if it was a lucky charm or a protector for the afterlife, but its presence suggests the child's family held a very specific, powerful belief in animal spirits. The site around the grave wasn't just a cemetery, it was a bustling farm with roundhouses and livestock enclosures. This tiny bone pin stands out as a shiny piece of raw emotion among all the drainage ditches and post holes. It's a beautiful, intimate reminder that even thousands of years ago, our parents were trying to find ways to protect their children, using the most powerful symbols they could find in nature. Number 3. The Colossus. Did you hear about the emperor who finally got his finger back? It sounds like a joke, but in April 2021, a massive 15-inch bronze digit was finally reunited with the rest of Constantine's statue in Rome. This poor finger had been sitting in the Louvre's storage in France for years, totally mislabeled and forgotten. So while the rest of the 40-foot Colossus stayed in Italy. What's truly bizarre is that the statue wasn't even originally Constantine. It started as someone else entirely in the 1st century. Every time a new guy took the throne, they'd just carve the face again to match the current emperor. Talk about a budget-friendly ego trip. By the 12th century, the statue was mostly a memory, with only a few body parts left to show for it. It's a total Frankenstein of history, so proving that even the most powerful men in the world were basically just recycling their own legends. Number 2. Relic of the Holy Thorn. The year is 1340, and you're looking at a pendant no bigger than a matchbox, but it's encrusted with amethysts and gold. Inside, a single thorn supposedly taken from the crown Christ wore during the crucifixion. This thing is the definition of small but mighty. It was probably owned by King Philip VI of France and his wife. And the detail is so fine that you need a magnifying glass to really see the enamel scenes of Christ's life. It reflects that crazy medieval religious fervor where owning a tiny piece of history was the ultimate status symbol. King Louis IX had originally bought the thorn from a cash-strapped emperor in Jerusalem, and by the time it was put into this pendant, it was basically priceless. It's a weirdly intimate object, something someone would have held close to their chest, praying for a miracle while staring at the tiny gold crown inside. Number 1. The Cardiff Giant. To wrap things up, we have to talk about the time the entire American scientific community got played by a tobacconist and a grudge. In October 1869, some workers in Cardiff, New York, discovered a 10-foot-tall petrified giant while digging a well. People lost their minds, thinking it was proof of the biblical giants. In reality, a guy named George Hull had hired a sculptor to carve the thing out of gypsum, aged it with acid, and poked it with needles to look like skin pores. He buried it a year before the discovery, just to win an argument with a local pastor about the book of Genesis. Hull spent about $60,000 in today's money on this prank, and even though it was eventually outed as a total hoax, it remains a legendary reminder that sometimes the most ancient things we find are just humans being incredibly petty. Okay, so that's all for today. Our ancestors weren't just surviving, they were building, dreaming, and leaving behind puzzles that still leave us breathless today. The deeper we dig, the more the official story starts to crumble. So, don't let these empires stay buried in your feed. Smash that like button right now. If you're tired of the same old history lessons, subscribe and hit the bell to join our crew of digital explorers. Comment below. Which of these massive secrets shocked you the most? Your engagement keeps these stories alive. Thanks for watching, and remember, the past is never truly gone. It's just waiting to be found.